The Hulk is uncontrollably mad. Thor is finally letting loose, and these two titans are battling it out. But how can this resolve if these two individuals are completely cutting loose? This is Comicstorian. I bring you audio dramas of your favorite comic books, and we do it in a manner in which I get to act out various things in these storylines. Today we're going to be bringing you the second part of Banner of War, 3 issues of this comic. The Hulk is currently being piloted by Bruce Banner inside of his own mind. He has a spaceship contraption that contains the Hulk's power so that he can send the Hulk off and figure out how to control the Hulk. But while this is going on, Thor has become the king of Asgard, and his father Odin has died, currently being contained in Mjölnir. When we last left off, Odin inside of Mjölnir was trying to talk to Banner inside of Hulk's mind and figure out what was going on. But that's not the part you really care about. These two titans are about to slam each other into the ground so much that we're going to start to question what exactly is going on here. This is part 2 of Banner of War, right here at Comicstorian. Inside of his mind, Bruce Banner looks into the dark sky, seeing a burning fire that is erupting over everything. Tears beginning to fall from his eyes. I'm sorry for what you've unleashed. Back at our fight, Thor versus Hulk. Thor looks down as Tony unleashes his weapons into the Hulk. The black hand of God is enveloped in fire as Tony doesn't hesitate to hit the Hulk with everything that he's got, the skin beginning to burn away from the Hulk's flesh. But the Hulk, he won't fall. What is this? Tony asks his AI, but the system merely informs him that Hulk's gamma radiation levels are rising. What? From where? Tony asks. And outside, the Hulk is still consumed by fire. But he opens his eyes to reveal blackness. The creature roars, leaping at Tony, knocking the celestial Hulk Buster armor to the ground. Alert! Critical damage to internal systems. The computer is shouting, with Tony coughing, blood pouring down his face. Yeah, I felt that, thanks. He snaps. Tony's eyes widen as he looks through the smoke, seeing the Hulk coming towards him. He orders his computer to get him to his feet, but the lightning crackles nearby. Tony, if you can hear me in there, stay down, Thor orders. And Tony asks him what is happening. Why has Thor been so erratic lately? But Thor tries to explain to Tony that something is wrong with the Hulk, that the creature isn't in control. But the Hulk comes flying out of the sky, slamming Thor into the ground. Brother! The monster bellows. Oh, I don't know. Seems like the good old Hulk to me, Tony says, punching the monster with a celestial fist from his armor. He pushes himself up, making the armor stand. Round 2, big guy, he says, motioning to the Hulk to come forward, and the Hulk leaps at him with Tony hitting him with his weapons again. Meanwhile, Mjölnir is trying to pull itself free of Thor's grasp, controlled by Odin's spirit. Don't you listen to me, boy! He needs our help! Odin shouts, and the hammer flies forward straight at the Hulk, who reaches out for it. Hulk, worthy? Hulk asks, and the hammer slams into his chest, pinning him to the ground, the spirit of Odin holding it in place. Calm down, friend. Everything is all right. I'm not here for you. I'm here to see Dr. Banner. Banner! Hulk shouts, opening his eyes, shooting a beam of gamma radiation that goes through Odin and slams into Tony's armor. What the hell was that? Hulk can shoot eye lasers now? Tony shouts, with Thor flying forward, telling Tony that he doesn't understand why the Hulk's rage is unending, that he has never seen him like this before. But Tony is getting the readings, and he realizes that Hulk's gamma radiation levels are rising again. Let Hulk free! The monster shouts as Thor reaches out for Mjölnir. The gamma blast rips through the celestial hand, destroying everything in its path. Radiation searing everything, a mushroom cloud rising up into the air. And when that smoke clears, Tony's armor is laying destroyed in the crater. He manages to push himself out of the cockpit, his suit protecting him from most of the radiation. My God, did we know that he could do that? Tony asks, but no reply comes from Thor, and his AI informs him that the Hulk's radiation caused him to explode with the force of 3,000 gamma bombs. Oh goody, hypothetically if, say, a human was caught in that blast like Banner was, would that create a Hulk? No sir, it would atomize them. Tony nods as he sees something large walking out of the smoke. Great, and just for giggles, what if they weren't human? he asks, his eyes widening as he sees a hulked Thor stalking before him. Thor smash! Tony hits the button on his suit, using what's left of the celestial armor to reach out and grab Thor before the hulked up god can squash him. But Thor breaks free, only to be blasted by the armor's arm cannons. But Thor doesn't slow down, ignoring Tony's pleas as he leaps at him. But the Hulk is there, punching Thor in the face, knocking him away. Hulk snorts and Tony looks at him in shock. Bruce? He asks and Hulk turns to him, his rage somewhat subsided. No, Bruce, he says, turning back to Thor. You, run, he says over his shoulder, and Thor slams into the Hulk again, knocking him to the ground where he continues to pummel him relentlessly. He raises his hand to hit him again, and the Hulk is laying on the ground, bleeding. With lightning cracking from the sky, mixing with the gamma radiation, the Thor slams his fists into the Hulk's chest again, cracking the ground beneath them. Inside of his mind, the pilot seat that he is using to drive the Hulk, Bruce is thrown to the ground. Dear God, what is happening out there? He gasps, with a hand reaching out for him, and Bruce looking up to see Odin's spirit. Thor, he's killing you, Banner. You turned him into a monster like you, and now you're going to get up and stop being so damned weak and help me beat some sense back into him. Determination fills Bruce's voice as he explains to Odin that he has to get back into the cockpit. And Odin, I have a big favor to ask. Outside, the Hulk finally catches one of Thor's punches. He leans forward, headbutting him. Stop punching, Hulk! He roars, but Tony is nearby, watching the fight as he's trying to get on the comms with the Avengers, but no one is responding. Can anyone hear me? He shouts. Anthony Stark, we can hear you, a voice says, and Tony turns to see Thor's ravens nearby. Oh right, talking birds. Now everything makes sense. Tony sighs, but a bright light falls from the sky and Tony disappears with the Bifrost as the Hulks slam into the ground that he was just standing on. When Tony looks up, he sees that he's standing before Sif, and he asks what she is doing as she prepares to use the Bifrost a second time. I'm bringing my king home. Thor is lost, out of control, but if he must be stopped, it will be by the sword of Asgard, she explains, and she places her sword against the controls, and the Bifrost is activated. The rainbow light streaming once again, slamming into Thor. No! He bellows, struggling against the pull of the rainbow bridge. Light not take Thor! He shouts, gripping the ground, making it crack, and Sif is shocked as Thor continues to fight. She tries to make the bridge pull harder. Leave Thor alone! He bellows, gamma lightning striking the bridge, shattering it. The Bifrost is destroyed across the cosmos, and Sif looks on in shock. Thor, I have failed you, she gasps as the explosion hits Asgard, but Tony leaps out of the way, knocking her to the ground, saving her. The Bifrost is no more, she whispers with a tear in her eyes. But back in Bruce's mind, Odin looks in shock, aware that his son is gone now. I think I could stop him. I just need a favor. Outside, Thor looks up, laughing as he destroys the bridge. He then turns, seeing Mjölnir flying towards him. Hammer, too! He begins to say, holding out his hand, but the hammer slams into his hand and keeps going, breaking his bones. The hammer breaks the sound barrier, slamming into the Hulk's waiting hand. You better be sure about this, Odin says from inside of the Hulk's mind with Bruce Banner on the control bridge. Well, there's only one way to find out, Bruce says as lightning crackles around the Hulk, and Thor looks up in surprise. You steal Thor's hammer, he shouts to the now Hulk who has become Thor. You want it back? Come and take it, Hulk says, and the two roar as they rush at each other, Thor lashing out, punching at the Hulk, but the Hulk meets the blow with Mjölnir, the force of the blow tearing the planet apart. The two Hulks continue their battle, their blows causing the planet beneath their feet to tear around them, both roaring in anger. And inside of the cockpit of the Hulk, Banner is gripping his commander chair tighter as the bridge is shaking. Banner, get us to Asgard! The spirit of Odin shouts, but Bruce looks at him, questioning how they could do that since Hulk Thor destroyed the Bifrost. Besides, I'm not sure if you've noticed, I'm a little preoccupied, he says as Thor cracks him across the face. But Odin yells again, telling Banner that Thor has been holding back on displaying the power of Mjölnir all these years. But I am not my son, Odin bellows. Outside, the Hulk begins to twirl the magical hammer over his head, lightning crackling around him, and he hits Thor hard, forcing the Hulk god back, the portal opening behind him. They both tumble through it, landing on the ground of Asgard, with the gods gathered around them. The guards begin to step forward, but Beta Ray Bill orders them to hold. A massive blow thunders throughout Asgard, the shockwave pushing the gods and Tony Stark back. Sif helps Tony to his feet. I don't get it, Sif. Hulk, he has Mjölnir. Without it, Thor was barely able to beat him in the past. But Beta Ray Bill shakes his head. This is untrue. The Hulk has never fought Thor, not the real Thor. The Thor that you know was sent to Earth to be humbled, to learn to show mercy to his enemies. And all of his time as the Avengers, he's been holding back. But this Thor is now nothing but mindless rage. Thor pushes the Hulk back, punching him in the face again and again, the ground cracking beneath their feet, shockwaves forcing the Asgardians back even further. Hulk tries to block the blow, but Thor grabs him by the arm, tearing it off, bringing a scream of pain out of the Hulk. But he lashes out with the hammer, knocking him away again, with Odin ordering him to push Thor into the World Tree. The roots then reach out, wrapping around Thor, trapping him against the tree's trunks. Okay, is that it? Is it over? Bruce asks Odin inside of the mindscape. And Odin looks out through the eyes of the Hulk, telling Bruce that if the tree can hold Thor long enough for the spirits of Asgard to bring back his son, to temper the madness and the rage within him, then yes, it would be over. All the magics and enchantments known to the ruins and fates to leech this fury out of his soul. All of this, and I don't know if it's enough. Odin says as he watches his son bellowing in rage, pulling at the vines and the roots that are holding him, screaming again, finally tearing his arms free. He then reaches out, grabbing a hold of the World Tree itself, the ground trembling beneath their feet as the World Tree cracks and he is lifting it, energy beginning to rip apart Asgard around them as he lifts the tree itself over his head. If he doesn't stop, we're talking the end of reality. We've got to calm him down, Bruce says, and Odin nods, but questions what could possibly end his son's mindless rage. It might be time for less force and more words, Bruce says, so the Hulk steps forward, lifting the hammer towards Thor, his mouth moving. But it's Odin's voice that speaks. My son, it is I, your father. I was never the best father. I pushed you too far at times. But I loved you, son, and I was always proud of you. If you would allow me to do what all fathers are called on to do for their sons, to help them with their burdens. He says, energy pulsing off of Mjölnir, causing the ground to thunder beneath their feet as the lightning crackles around them. The blast throws them both away and knocks the Asgardians down. When the smoke finally clears, Mjölnir stands nearby and both Thor and Hulk have now returned to normal, getting to their feet, reaching down, picking up Mjölnir, and smiling at his former friend and nodding. Hulk nods back as his battle armor begins to wrap around him again, the control device that Banner uses to use the Mindscape. It allows him to take full control of his command deck again. No words are exchanged between Thor or Hulk, but they regard each other for a moment before finally leaping away, disappearing into the vastness of space. Afterwards, having not seen anything that happened, Thor helps Tony Stark to his feet, and he explains that the blast from Mjölnir was so powerful that the Hulk didn't survive. I think in some way, Banner let himself be destroyed. He wanted to be free, Thor tells his friend as he puts him on his chariot. He lets the screaming goats take Tony back to Earth as he questions if Hulk is really gone. And once he is finally alone, Thor goes to Sif. So where is he? Far from here. Where he's going, I can't even see. Thor, are you sure you should have let the Hulk go? And Thor nods his head, explaining that he knows that Banner is not to blame for what happened in El Paso. But he knows that the world would never doubt his innocence. I have lived behind Banner's eyes. Sif, I have felt his rage and pain. I share in those things more than I wish, so I must respect his will. And maybe someday he shall find healing as well. He deserves it, Thor says. And later he places the Hulk's Thor armor within his armory, unaware that a presence glows from within the helm, and something awaits. And there you have it, the Hulk and Thor crossover has come to its conclusion. Now Hulk is going to go back to his journey figuring out what is even going on, while Thor is going back to being a king and figuring out how he deals with his entire family and a broken Mjölnir and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to know what's happening in either one of those storylines, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, as we will be covering both of them separately. Also, let me know what you think about the story down below. I actually thought this was a pretty fun one. I liked the idea of Thor finally being able to cut loose, but Hulk also using Mjölnir. But I know some people are like, meh, it just feels like a cop-out. They just went with as strong as they can. Either way, I thought it was fun, and I hope you did as well. Don't forget to check us out over at Patreon and YouTube memberships, and I'll see you next time right here.